welcome to the show. We're here to help you improve your recruiting game in this case, but also sell more solar, generate more leads and referrals, and hopefully have a much better time in the solar industry. My name's Taylor Armstrong, and we are free and available on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, coming at you every Tuesday and Friday. Hopefully you can tune in every new episode we have dropping. And wanted to give a quick thank you to our sponsors. If you have not checked them out yet, what are you doing? Solar Scout has teamed up with us to offer an incredible discount to our listeners, but not only that, give you access to a tool that is just changing the game in solar. You've probably heard me talk about it a few times now in recent episodes, but this tool is an absolute game changer. It allows you to see the expired permits in an area, people that maybe their company went out of business with solar, or they were just doing monkey business for whatever reason, didn't go through with their solar. You can then target those people, and then they just recently came out with something that is just taking it even to another level, and that is people that have clicked on a solar ad at some point. Don't ask me how they get this type of data. I think it's some type of like witchcraft or wizardry. I have no idea, but however they get it, it's just mind-blowing. Literally roll up to these people that have clicked on solar ads and knock their doors. Why not, right? So hopefully you can try it out. Go ahead, click the link in the show notes of the podcast, and you're going to get a 15% discount if you want to try these guys out. Okay, but today we're going to be talking about the game of recruiting. And this is something that is a focus for me this year, specifically recruiting, because I am trying to build my team here in San Diego. I am trying to further develop as a leader. You guys know I talk about the latest tips and tricks to selling, but something that I feel like I have not mastered to near the level that I've focused on sales in my career is just building teams, recruiting. And it's a big focus for me this year, which, speaking of, if you want to join a bad to the bone team, hit me up. We've got a few spots available. Okay, but you're going to hear some live footage from last Friday. We went to Cheesecake Factory, and it's my goal every time. Like they say, if you recruit everywhere you go, you never have to go anywhere to recruit. So I think anyone in solar should be trying to build a team. Now, I know there's some people that like being the lone wolf that are like, I recruited all these years, I'm sick of it. I just think there's so much growth that comes when you're recruiting. It forces you to sell more. It first forces you to develop as a leader, forces you to think more like a business owner because you have to develop systems to actually take care of those recruits. And so that's what fascinates me about recruiting. And hopefully it fascinates you too. Okay, so I'm going to play part of this clip from the little recruiting chat I had, and then I'm going to break down a couple things. Hopefully there's some takeaways, some things that you all can apply from this recording. And as always, we're using Zero, which is the easiest way to get great recordings for your team, for whatever you're doing in sales. So definitely check them out too. Okay, but let's play a little chunk of this recording. And apologize in advance. There's a lot of people talking at Cheesecake Factory. Everyone loves their cheesecake. So it's not the greatest sound quality, but hopefully you can get the gist of what's going on here.
How long have you been working here now? A year and 4 months. Okay, nice. And good service. Appreciate the service. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, man. You always been at Mike's restaurants and stuff, or? Yeah. I mean, it's not my career path. I'm at SCSU right now, so. Oh, okay. Yeah. You live down there too, and I live in near Mesa, so it's like halfway. Oh, okay. So it's not bad. It's not a bad gig. Mostly time I ride a motorcycle anyway, so traffic doesn't really matter. That's cool. You like the job quite a bit? You like? Yep. I mean, Cheesecake's a really good. I've worked for a couple different restaurants, but they've all been garbage. Cheesecake's a really good restaurant to work for. Yeah, so I do. We have a bunch of guys that came from I do solar panels. Okay. I do the solar panel sell stuff. My brother used to clean solar panels. Oh, really? Yeah. He worked for a company.
Okay, so you can hear, again, I know it's kind of muffled, not the greatest quality here, but hopefully you can hear what's going on. Just making small talk. and probably should have been making some small talk throughout the night. Something I'm trying to get better at is a lot of times I'll be at these restaurants and I'll think at the end, oh, this guy's sharp. I should try having a recruiting conversation. And then at the very end, very last second, I have the conversation. But I think if I were the server at this restaurant and just putting myself in their shoes, if a guy hasn't really talked to me the whole night and then at the end he starts trying to drum up a conversation, for me, I would definitely sniff out like, okay, this guy's trying to recruit me to do something. Okay, I've ran into a lot of network marketing people, a lot of MLMers. That's usually how it goes. So what probably would have been better is if I try to have the conversation throughout the course of the night and not just try to drum it up at the very end. Because I think it could be a little more, maybe organic, a little more natural if we're friends before the end of the night, right? So a little mistake I made, but let's see what happens next.
Okay. Yeah, we got a bunch of guys that came from Mike's server, jobs like this though. They do really good because we do kind of like explain people. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you got to be able to talk and kind of like still kind of customer service. Yeah, it's like pretty much the same thing. So you're just going. Are you guys like selling solar? Yeah, it's like selling. How do you like that? Yeah, it's good. It's cool because there's like a bunch of programs where there's incentives for it. So they don't have to pay anything. So people get solar and there's not like an out of pocket cost. Yeah. Just like reduce their bill and everything. But yeah, you'd be super.
Okay, so you notice what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get them bought in on the idea of solar. One of the most effective ways to get people excited about solar is instead of just recruiting them to the money, the job, get them excited about the product, what we're actually doing. Because most people, especially in markets where solar isn't as common, most people have very little knowledge of solar. They probably think it's something you're like going out and charging customers $50,000 for. There's no like finance options. They have to pay a lot of money out of pocket. These people don't know. So we need to make sure they are getting educated on why solar is so awesome. So that's what I was attempting to do there. But another mistake I made is this is just something that I'm not as comfortable with. You can probably hear. So just like we have a presentation in solar, my mistake is I don't really have a set presentation for recruiting. Okay, so something I need to practice personally is I need to have an exact script, what I'm going to say. I need to not like overthink it, just follow the script, right? And then yeah, that would just be a lot more effective than winging it, which is basically what I'm doing right now. I have like I have a way I'm trying to present it, organize it in my head, but you can tell it's just not, we don't practice these things, right? And I think that's a big mistake. If we want to get good at recruiting, then we need to be having multiple conversations. We need to practice the actual recruiting presentation, not just wing it. So there's another mistake I made. Okay, most people aren't doing that, but it would be much more effective if I knew word for word exactly what I'm going to say. The same way we know exactly what we're going to say at the door. All right, so let's see what happens.
Good at what we do, man. You ever thought about like sales or anything like that? I did sales at I did sales at AT&T for a while. I killed it. I loved it, but it's just restaurants like are better like for me to work around my schedule because like my schedule for school's all over the place. Morning and night classes. I can only work a couple days a week sometimes. So otherwise, I would do sales because it's easy money. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. We got our company they do like these opportunities. Are you open to more like work opportunities at all right now? You think? Sure. You got a business card? Yeah, I can give you one. These opportunity calls where they just like go and explain it to people and tell about like what we do or whatever, and then you kind of see if it sparks your interest or whatever. Which does get you in. My name's Taylor.
Yep. So here, what I'm doing, I'm inviting them to the next little baby step, which our company right now, they do these opportunity calls. Hey, and definitely if you're at a bigger organization, if you're managing a big team, if you've already got lots of leads for recruits, I think it's definitely advantageous to set up something like that. We do opportunity calls, right? And it's essentially like a group interview. Okay, you're getting in, you're telling people about the job opportunity. Because if you're trying to grow at scale, it's going to be very hard to do if you're doing like individual interviews with dozens and dozens of people, right? And so what we've done every Wednesday and Saturday, we do an opportunity call where potential recruits, people interested in the opportunity can come, they can hear about the opportunity, they can get their questions answered and just basically see if it's a good fit for them. And then if it is, we funnel them to an interview after. Okay, and so definitely you need to have some type of system in place and some type of next step. Okay, and if you're not doing that, what I've done in the past is just like, hey, I can't promise you a job, but if I could get you an interview, would you show up to it? Okay, you met him doing an interview. But if you are trying to grow at scale, definitely a smart idea to have something like that, something like a opportunity call or a group interview. And we do these, they're Zoom calls, right? So people don't have to show up. In my previous company, I was doing actual group interviews where we'd invite people in. You could do something like this, a Zoom call, but really smart to set up some type of system. Okay, and then I think that's almost it. Um, yeah, so that's basically the whole call. Just invited them to the opportunity call. All right, and so takeaways from that, just invite them to the next small step, whether it's an interview, whether it's a meeting, whether it's an opportunity call. And then the other two mistakes that I make over and over and over is you got to be organized with this stuff, right? And so right after had these conversations, which I actually had 3 recruiting conversations that day. Earlier than that, I was on the doors and ran into a college kid. He was on his way to work at In and Out, seemed like a sharp kid. Invited him to check out the job, invited him to an opportunity call. So the two things I do 100% of the time right after that is number one, I get their social media, their Instagram, okay, because I want them to follow me and I want them to see the lifestyle that we're about, right? They don't get that if you just give them your phone number. And number two, I also get their phone number. And the reason I get both is because I actually did this. I tried to recruit a Uber driver 3, 4 months back. I added him on Instagram, followed him. I shot him a DM, but I realized that he had his Instagram set to private. So he didn't even see my message, never got a response, never could follow up with him because he has to like approve my message and wasn't that active. So I never got approved. Maybe that was his way of just ghosting me, right? But so now I get phone number, I get Instagram, and adding them on both, shooting them a text. They have my number. And then you just got to remember to follow up after that. Right. So whatever you invited them to, whether it's interview, whether it's opportunity call, group interview, meeting, make sure you set a reminder to actually remind them. Okay. So that's the second thing I did. I added them, added the phone number. And then right after I left the restaurant, I said, hey, Siri, remind me to do this. Got my Siri going off right now as I'm saying this. But I set an automatic reminder for the day before the opportunity call, then evening before, and now I know I'm going to follow up. I'm going to shoot them the text the night before and hopefully get them on the call. That's the idea. Okay, and you need multiple reminders. Okay, ideally you automate a lot of this, and that's step number 3 is actually following up. Okay, so putting them in a spreadsheet, if you're keeping it simple, put them in a spreadsheet, just do the reminder. If you want to take it to another level, you can have an actual CRM. I'm using Go High Level right now, where it has all the automations you can set up in place. You can, do the automatic follow up if they didn't show up to the call. Same thing you do with your customers. So that's like another level. And I'm not doing that right now currently with recruits, but I think you can keep it simple. Just create a basic spreadsheet. Okay, and this is something I got from my guy, Mike Brand, one of our most popular episodes. If you haven't listened to Mike Brand, this guy, he has recruited armies and armies of people, and he just created a simple spreadsheet that has 5 or 6 tabs. Maybe it's 7 or 8. Okay, looking at it right now, but it has a pool brainstorm tab, and he just puts all the people that he can brainstorm that could be potential recruits. It has an invited to opportunity call tab where he puts all the people he invited to the call. It has a follow up with the setup appointments he has with these people, has a spoken to tab, and then after that has a follow up daily, follow up weekly, follow up monthly, follow up quarterly, and signed. So that was probably like 10 different tabs. Okay. But yeah, and then that's how he stays organized with it. So that's something I've been trying to utilize, just keeping it simple, but you can get in there, check it every week and just see, okay, who are the people I need to follow up with? What are their conversations I need to have? Because the higher quality the recruit, the longer it's going to take probably to get them in and the more follow-ups it's going to take. So if you want to get the heavy hitters, if you were trying to actually get quality people, people that you know for sure would be good at sales, you're probably going to have to follow up with them a lot. You're going to have multiple conversations. And that's why, to be honest, I haven't got many of those people because my follow-up has been trash. Okay. And if I can't get them one time, then I am not the greatest at following up in the future. So make sure you master these steps. Again, number one, invite them to the next small step, whether it's opportunity call, whether it's group interview, whether it's in-person interview. Set a reminder to remind them. And then number three, follow up and set up a system. Use a CRM or a spreadsheet to keep track of all your recruiting leads because you got to treat these like a solar cell. Okay, you got to treat it the same way. This is almost like a separate business. You need to treat it as such if you want to actually grow. Okay, so these are things I'm personally working on. Hopefully, that gets you thinking about how you can be a better recruiter in solar and gets you a little bit more motivated to recruit. Because again, I think is a great way to grow yourself. A great way to become a better leader is if you can show other people the process. So, hope that helps. Send this to someone that is trying to work on their recruiting game. And let me know if you guys like content like this, if you like learning about recruiting, if you want it more sales focused, if you want it more follow up focused, systems focused. Always curious to know what people are thinking. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in today. Go check out our sponsor, Solar Scout, if you haven't already, and please leave us a review, share the episode, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out.